do a quick video on how to do Spyderco heel. Obviously the factory one doesn't go all the way to the plunge grind on either side, and it's easy enough to, with a stone, just follow that same cut there, but a lot of people struggle with how to get it closer, especially with how to get it closer without grinding into the plunge line. I don't know, especially on a DLC blade, it's a problem because you scuff up the inside of the plunge line there. So I'm going to try and demonstrate that. Okay, so what I do, especially if you don't care about running into the plunge line, obviously you have to clamp it in a way to where the stone comes in at the right angle. You know, you don't want to be banging in like this, and you don't want it to be too much like this, or you're grinding up here. So get the right angle. I like it to be just a little bit off so that I'm not following the plunge line exactly, but so that I'm coming in a little bit at this angle. And if you don't care about grinding into the end of the plunge line, then you can just go all the way up here and just start, you know, grinding. Lift it up a tiny bit like this, and then set that in on both sides, and then you can just follow it on future stones. But if you want to try and do it as close as possible without grinding into the plunge line, I like to get it as close as possible without quite hitting the plunge line, so there's just like a 0.5 millimeter left. And what I do initially to set it is I put my finger here, so I find where I want this to go, and then I put my finger here so that I can't go past that point. Okay, found it there, put my finger there, so it's basically like a stop, and then I tilt the stone up. See, we're starting to make a little progress there. So what I'm trying to do is put in a new cut, basically. You saw the previous one that was there where the stone would stop there. And that's easy enough to follow, but we want to create a new one a little bit past without running into the actual plunge. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, so obviously it's not profiled, but I've made that cut, and you don't want to go too much because then you'll create a hollow part or an indent there, which is a problem because then when you're sweeping in, you're not going to hit that anymore unless you tilt your stone, which you don't want to have to do. You want to be able to keep your stone flat. So now I've got that cut there to where the stone stops and doesn't continue on into the plunge. Flip to the other side. See, it's the same problem. Put my thumb here. I use a flashlight because I can't see. Perfect. Created that new cut. I'll show you up close. So now we've got it about 0.5 millimeter away from the plunge. And then we can just keep profiling into that area, and it should work out very nice. Show you the other side. a 1/2 millimeter away, and that way you don't run in grinding on the plunge line, and keep that clean. So anyway, this isn't fully profiled, that's why it looks a little weird, but we've got that cut so that the stone will seat in there and follow it on the rest of the progression. So it should look nice and clean after.